So the laws in every state are different when it comes to removal. In some states, the funeral homes will work with the medical examiner. Will be like almost subcontracted to go pick up a body for the medical examiner. The medical examiner doesn't have its own like private fleet of cars, and you wouldn't use an ambulance to take a dead body. That's like a Hollywood thing. That's not real. Okay, so that fact. Or you have a privatized removal company, strict, like they have them in Florida, like the company my ex and I owned, where all you do is you are licensed to do body removal. You are not a funeral home. You're not like a funeral home business. You're just a removal business. Next thing, Dee Dee is found covered with blankets, okay? Which, if you've watched the investigation video or interrogation videos, excuse me, of Nick, he makes it very clear that she had very few blankets on her at the time of the crime. I'm just going to state the facts, okay? So the Barney, which has intrigued me for a long time, I didn't really understand it. Two photos that I noticed, two different settings. One is the initial photo of the crime scene before the body would have been cleared for someone like me to go and pick it up. The Barney was under her head. And then you see photos where the Barney stuffed animal was then on the nightstand. That would mean that it had been cleared at that point. The body was cleared to be taken to the medical examiner. So someone, probably the me in this situation, would have moved the Barney in order to roll Dee Dee over to get her prepped to go into the van. Fun fact, toe tags don't actually go on toes. We wrap them around the ankle. The detective also presses about a stuffed animal, trying to get Nick to recall, was there a certain stuffed animal, a special stuffed animal? Now, Nick's recount of what happened that night was pretty detailed. I mean, granted, he had been up and was tired for a long time. No mention of Barney. Also a fact, we would set the refrigerators at 42 degrees. 42 degrees is the best temperature because you don't want to freeze a body, because then eventually when you take it out, it begins to thaw. What causes decomp? You know, the quickest? Water. So you wouldn't want that. Embalming is the process of taking water out of the body. So immediately you want to just stop the decomp process in order to investigate, in order to slow down decomp. Okay, 42 degrees. Now, I did a lot of this work in Florida where it was extremely hot, extremely wet, so it wouldn't take long in the elements for a body to be, you know, to decompose. Louisiana, Missouri, not much different. It's pretty warm, and that time of year, pretty warm, pretty wet, okay? And I thought it was interesting that the thermostats had been turned down to, I believe it was like 47, don't quote me on that. Someone did their homework. So why am I saying all this? Because from the point of the crime until Dee Dee was found, the only people in that room would be your first responders and last responders like myself, EMS, fire, police, the funeral home employees, the removal company employees, and the detectives. And allegedly Nick was the last person. So Nick says she wasn't covered. Nick doesn't mention the Barney, has no recollection of it, okay? And anyone in my field or first response wouldn't have covered her with the blankets. We wouldn't have put the Barney under her head. See what I'm saying? In funeral rituals, rites, and memorialization, every culture does things a little bit differently when memorializing their dead. But the big thing is you want them comfortable. You want to see them at rest, regardless of the situation. It just gives us a sense of peace, right? A lot of times we would also do these things called ID viewings. It was usually when someone wanted to cremate the body and didn't want a full viewing, or maybe they just couldn't afford it. So we would work with the families. Sorry, my espresso machine. We would work with the families to prep the body without full embalming, without the use of chemicals or anything, just to make the body look at peace, look comfortable. And that would a lot of times mean we would cover it with a sheet, put a little pillow behind their loved one's head, and just make them look comfortable, like they're at peace, because it makes it more palatable for the loved ones to see their family member before they never see them again. So my thought with the Barney, potentially I've heard that, Gypsy didn't sleep in her bed. She slept with Dee Dee, with the Barney. It was special to her. From the looks of the photos, it doesn't look like she was sleeping in her bed. It was covered with things. Dee Dee's room was a lot clearer. And now if Gypsy had been sleeping with the Barney, maybe she went to bed with Dee Dee as it was a normal night. And Barney, just her cuddled animal, happened to be there. So was it there because that's just where it was? Or was this done by someone who cared about her in the same way we in the death care industry would show care to a body in order for the family to have peace of mind? Pillow behind the head, covered with a blanket or sheet. For you to think about and formulate your own opinions. I just really wanted to give a different perspective.